So one of my favorite contracts that I was ever on was aboard Celebrity Millennium. So I get a lot of people who ask me what the ship is like, especially the travel part. I mean, going out to different countries and cities, exploring. For the most part, there's never really a dull moment. But one story that's really memorable for me was my first overnight in Kobe, Japan.
Kobe is considered to be one of the most energetic and stylish cities in the country.
So I got together with some buddies of mine and we were trying to plan out the best way to experience Kobe because we had an overnight in Japan. And what that means is the ship stays in dock overnight so that the people on the ship can experience what nightlife is actually like. Because usually the ship will leave anywhere from early afternoon to late evening. So for this particular overnight, we were thinking, well, what if we grabbed an Air B&B and we stayed off the ship overnight? Now this was completely new to me because I had never done this before. Usually I'm back on the ship by like 5 a.m. So I'm talking with some buddies of mine about getting an Air B&B, and we're getting really excited about it, talking about hitting up some bars and hitting up this one popular club. So we're ready. And we'd been planning this a couple days out. Now when that day actually hit, we were more than prepared and we couldn't wait to get off the ship.
I'm not going home, I hope not. Freedom, we gonna rage tonight.
And this was one of those things where it finally felt like a Friday after working all week. Except on the ship, you don't really have Fridays where you get to like turn it off because you're usually on the ship. So the fact that we got to get off the ship, stay off the ship, turn off our brain from working was mind-blowing. At least for me it was. So when we were on the train, we ended up taking some whiskey shots. Really cool. 10 minutes later, we got off the train and we're on our way to try and find our Airbnb. On the way to the Airbnb, we ended up getting lost. I don't really know why we couldn't find the place, we just couldn't find it. We asked some guy for help. He didn't really speak English. We didn't speak Japanese, so there was a little communication barrier there. So he pointed out the way. Now, as an aside, the thing I love about Japanese people is the culture and how they're so helpful. Not only was this guy willing to help us out, which is pretty rare in Los Angeles, he pointed us in the wrong direction and he ran back across the street to correct us so we didn't go in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Next meeting at the Blue Tent.
Oh, I see.
That is a teacher building.
Anyway, we ended up finding our Airbnb, which is a really cool place that had like a little tree for house shoes in there. It had a little family area, little living room, a nice little kitchen, and an awesome bathroom. Just being there felt really cool. What was great about that place is that it's exactly what I expected out of a Japanese home, but it also wasn't cluttered with a bunch of furniture and weird chairs and decor and all that stuff. It was very minimal and great for people to come over. The first thing we did was drop our stuff off and then we headed back out and we did some exploring, grabbed some beers, so on and so forth. We had a lot of fun just walking around the city. So later on toward the evening, we make our way back toward the house, we bring some sake, bring some beer, and we just have a good old time. We're playing cards, listening to music, eating some sushi, drinking sake, beer, whiskey, all that stuff. Just, you know, pre-game stuff. Once everybody showed up, we all go out in our little group of, I'd say, maybe about 8 people or so, and then we went out to some bars, and we're really just building the night up to go to this one club that a lot of the people on the ship had been talking about. The first bar that we go to, we're playing some darts, and one of our buddies loses a bet, so he has to stick some toilet paper behind his pants and walk to the next bar where the toilet paper is sticking out, which was pretty hilarious to see people watching him as we walk to the next bar. So we go to a couple different bars, and by this time, as you can imagine, we're feeling really good. I mean, we're stopping at different 7-Elevens, grabbing beers along the way, and we're having such a good time we're essentially shotgunning beers in the street. It's amazing. And needless to say, by this time we're ready for the club. So, we make our way down there. pay our entrance fee, which is I think $10 or $20. Grab some drinks in there and just have a blast. There was a live DJ, a bunch of friends and locals were there, so it didn't just feel like we're back on the ship. We were there till about maybe 2 in the morning, and then it closed, and then we left. Now when we went back home, we ended up taking a cab, and we were just dead tired afterwards. When we got back, all we had to do was set up the little mats and put them on the floor, and night-night.
Oh, no changes.
What?
The fuck. We made it.
When we woke up, we felt absolutely dead because of all the festivities from the night before. But I'll tell you, that was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had while on a contract. Overnight in Kobe with some good friends, good company, made it back on the ship safe, ready to do it again the next time.